It's story time. It's story time. It's time for a good story. It's time for a love story. So, once upon a time, there was a young boy and a young girl, and their families were very close friends. So close, in fact, that they thought that they were cousins. And they grew up together, but they had a very, very special relationship, and they were very fond of each other. Like they really, really were fond of each other. But they thought they were cousins, so that was how their fondness stayed, just a mutual fondness and love and respect for each other. And they grew up and they went through their lives and they got married and they had children. And they stayed in contact now and again. But many, many decades later, the woman, a widow, received a letter from the man who was a widower. They were both in their 90s. And in this letter, which was a 4-page typewritten letter, the man professed his love for her and how he had loved her and admired her all these years and thought she was, to this day, the sweetest, most kindest woman, and he just cherished his memories of her. And he was in his 90s. And she received this letter. Can you imagine getting a 4-page typewritten letter like that when you're in your 90s? So they started communicating, and he sent her a big bouquet of flowers, and they started communicating. But they weren't really into the internet and that kind of stuff. And my mom, I'll give it away. It's my mom. Okay, my mom is the woman. I gave it away. Anyway, she asked me if I would send him a copy of my book. So I had to phone him to get his address. And when I phoned him and talked to him, he was the most gentle, wonderful sounding man. And he was just so full of compliments about my mother. And it just made me feel so delightful. And he said his only regret is that they would never be able to see each other in person. He lived in Palo Alto, California. So I asked him if he knew about FaceTime and such, and he didn't. But he put me in touch with his daughter. So his daughter and I connected, and through the miracle of modern technology, the two of them got to connect on FaceTime. So for over an hour, they had a beautiful conversation, and I'll never forget the first thing she said when she saw his face. She said, "Oh, you're still a handsome devil." And he had a whole pile of mementos from many, many years back, and they were showing each other pictures and asking each other questions and reminiscing about their days gone by, and it was a really, really beautiful time. So my mom asked me if I would write a song called Palo Alto, which I took to mean, would you write a song about this man and I? So I presupposed about their love story, and I wrote a song, and when she heard it, she thought it was really perfect, and she thought the words were perfect, and she wanted me to play it for him. But I was too embarrassed to do that. But with all that's happening with COVID, I ended up sending his daughter a link. Some of you may have saw Global News did a little story on my family about my mom, and I thought, I bet he would really appreciate seeing that. So I sent the link to his daughter so that she could show him. And she said he's having a bit of a hard time right now because, being so isolated and in his 90s and etc. So I thought, well, maybe I should phone him. So I phoned him. I told him who I was, and he was so delighted to hear from me. And again, he told me on and on how wonderful my mother was and what a beautiful woman. And he said, I mean, no disrespect to your father, he said, but I think she would have been a wonderful wife to me and a wonderful mother, and I have so much love and adoration for her. So I told him, well, my mom asked me to write a song, and I wrote a song, about you guys. Like, would you like me to play it for you? So I played it for him, and he was like practically in tears. He was so moved, and he said it was so perfect, and he wanted to know how I knew the story, and I didn't really know. I was kind of just guessing. But anyway, so I'm going to play it for you if you haven't heard Palo Alto yet, because I think this story is so important, because first of all, I can't imagine what might have happened if he would have contacted my mom 25 years ago when they were both widows, instead of in their 90s. But it's never too late. Like, it's just never too late. Whatever you're thinking of doing or a passing thought and you go, oh, it's probably too late, or they won't remember, or I'll be this old, or whatever. It's never too late. It's just never too late. So please, whatever you're thinking of, just do it, because this man, by doing this for my mom and for my family, he just gave us so much. He gave us I'm so moved. So anyways, and when I hung up from him, he said to me, he said, dear, I just love you. He said, I hope you'll call me again. And I certainly will call him again. So I'm going to play you Palo Alto now. And if there's somebody in your head that you're thinking, would appreciate a call from you, that would appreciate a message for you, somebody that you need to say sorry to, somebody that you just want to reach out to, it's not too late. Please do it, and you never know what kind of impact that might have. Here's Palo Alto. For all those loves that didn't quite come to fruition, but will never leave our hearts. They just won't leave our hearts. I can't come to Palo Alto, and you can't come to my town, but our memories linger on of all we've done. We'll never know what could have been. Another place, another time. I'd be yours, you'd be mine, but I can't come to Palo Alto. Palo Alto, I can't come. We've loved pure and true. It's a joy to be with you. Love your heart, your soul, your brain. We met, I was forever changed, but I can't come to Palo Alto, and you can't come to my town, but our memories linger on of all we've done. We'll never know what could have been. Whoops. In my imperfection. We'll never know what could have been. Another, oh, for Pete's sake. So I can't come to Palo Alto, and you can't come to my town, but our memories linger on of all we've done. We'll never know what could have been. Another life, another time. I'd be yours, you'd be mine, but I can't come to Palo Alto. Palo Alto, I can't come. Circumstance we can't control took us down life's different road, made the choices we had to make, not for ourselves but for others' sake. Well, I can't come to Palo Alto, and you can't come to my town. Our memories linger on of all we've done. We'll never know what could have been. Another life, another time. I'd be yours, you'd be mine, but I can't come to Palo Alto. Palo Alto, I can't come. And you can't come to me. And the best part of the story is, my mother named her son after this man. You gotta love happy endings. Never too late, folks. I think it's a good day for a love story. If you got one to share it, spread some good news, man. We need it. Here's to you guys.